This tiny piece of metal once sold for over $1.2 million, and it's just an Australian coin. Here are 25 coins that could turn spare change into serious cash. Number 25. 1913 halfpenny. The 1913 halfpenny holds a special place in Australian numismatic history as it represents the very first year that Australia issued this denomination under the banner of the newly formed Commonwealth. Prior to this date, Australia used British and colonial coins in daily commerce. So when this coin was released, it marked a defining moment, a symbolic break from the past and a step into national identity. Struck at the Heaton Mint in Birmingham, the coin carries the H mint mark just beneath the scroll on the reverse. The obverse features the crowned effigy of King George V, while the reverse continues the early pre-decimal tradition with the denomination 1 halfpenny framed inside a beaded inner circle surrounded by the words Commonwealth of Australia and the date. Collectors prize this coin not only for its historical significance, but also for its design purity. As the first of its kind, it set the stylistic tone for decades of halfpenny issues. What adds further interest is the fact that the dies used for the 1913 halfpenny were produced with relatively high relief, and early examples show excellent detail if preserved well. With a mintage of approximately 5.7 million, the 1913 halfpenny isn't extremely rare in raw numbers, but high-grade examples are scarce. Most were heavily circulated or damaged, and few collectors at the time set aside pristine pieces. In circulated condition, this coin is valued around $30 to $100, well-preserved examples in extremely fine grade may bring $200 to $400 AUD, while uncirculated specimens, especially those with natural toning and full detail, can fetch $8,000 to $13,000 AUD or more. Third-party graded coins in high mint state. Grades can achieve even higher premiums due to their historical and foundational importance. Number 24, 1911 penny. The 1911 penny is another cornerstone of Australian coinage, being the first year of issue for the Commonwealth penny. It was also the first year of Australian pennies to feature King George V, who ascended the throne in 1910, following the death of Edward VII. As such, this coin holds dual significance, as a numismatic debut and a representation of a newly crowned monarch. The obverse displays the crown bust of George V, while the reverse maintains the classic predecimal penny. Design, 1 penny, framed within a central beaded circle, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia, and the year 1911. The design is straightforward yet powerful, with strong symmetry and clean lines that would define the penny series for years to come. Struck at the London Mint, the 1911 penny saw a substantial mintage of over 3.4 million coins. However, due to its age and heavy circulation over the past century, finding high-grade examples has become increasingly challenging. Many surviving coins show significant wear, environmental damage, or edge knocks. Collectors value this coin for its first-of-its-kind status, which makes it a compulsory addition for anyone assembling a full set of Australian pennies. In circulated grades, it typically sells for $25 to $80 AUD. Coins in extremely fine condition range from $150 to $300 AUD, while uncirculated examples, particularly those with full chocolate brown or mint red luster, can command $5,000 to $12,000 AUD. Graded pieces in MS63 or higher can exceed $15,000 AUD, depending on their eye appeal and market demand. Number 23. Would it go to Canberra florin? The 1927 Canberra florin is arguably one of the most iconic commemorative coins ever released by Australia. Issued to celebrate the official opening of Parliament House in Canberra, this florin was Australia's first circulating commemorative coin and has remained a beloved piece of national history for nearly a century. Unlike traditional florins of the time that featured the coat of arms, the 1927 florin breaks the mold with an artistic depiction of Parliament House, flanked by robed figures and framed in intricate detail. The obverse retains the crowned effigy of King George V, making it the perfect blend of tradition and commemorative innovation. Minted in sterling silver, 92.5% purity, the 1927 Canberra florin had a mintage of 2 million, but most of them entered circulation and were used in commerce, leading to a large number of worn or damaged examples. What collectors seek today are those coins that were preserved in pristine condition, especially those still housed in their original black presentation cases, often given to VIP guests at the opening ceremony. Because it marked such a monumental event in Australian political history, This coin is considered an essential addition to any advanced collection of Australian currency. In circulated condition, values range from $30 to $80 AUD, while coins in extremely fine are about. Uncirculated condition typically command $150 to $350 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those with original mint luster and eye appeal, can fetch $5,000 to $1,000 AUD. Specimens in original packaging or high third-party grades may exceed $12,000 AUD at premium auctions. Number 22, 1950 penny. The 1950 penny might appear as just another post-war kangaroo penny at first glance, but it holds its own charm and collector value thanks to its lower-than-average mintage, relative scarcity in mint state, and appeal to type collectors of King George VI coinage. The obverse features the crown portrait of King George VI, while the reverse boasts the iconic leaping kangaroo design, which had become a symbol of Australia's identity on coinage since 1938, the Y. Mint mark under the scroll identifies it as a Perth mint strike, differentiating it from Melbourne issues of earlier years. With a mintage of around 5.6 million, the 1950 penny is not especially rare in circulated grades, but examples in uncirculated or choice uncirculated condition are becoming increasingly hard to find. Post-war coinage was often subjected to high-speed minting and less refined quality control, making perfectly struck examples with minimal blemishes quite uncommon. Circulated examples are generally worth $5 to $15 AUD, while extremely fine to about. Uncirculated coins sell for $30 to $80 AUD. Truly uncirculated specimens, particularly those that retain their full red or glossy brown surfaces, can fetch $1,000 to $2,500 AUD. Premium specimens graded MS64 or higher by PCGS or NGC may push above $3,000 AUD, depending on demand and visual quality. Number 21, 1933 penny. The 1933 penny is one of the key semi-rares in the Australian penny series and highly respected by collectors for its relatively low mintage, historical significance, and increased scarcity in higher grades. It was struck during the midst of the Great Depression, a time when economic turmoil affected every facet of Australian life, including the minting of coins. The obverse features the crowned bust of King George V, while the reverse continues with the classic one penny design within a beaded circle, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia and the date. While it may not differ visually from earlier issues, its collector value lies in the scarcity of high-grade survivors. With a mintage of just 5.1 million, this coin is not exceedingly rare in sheer numbers, but because so many were worn down in circulation, problem-free, high-quality specimens are difficult to come by. Additionally, this year forms part of a trio of key dates, along with 1925 and the ultra-rare 1930, that serious collectors aim to secure. Circulated 1933 pennies typically range in value from $40 to $120 AUD, while coins in extremely fine grade may command $250 to $500 AUD. Mint state examples, especially those showing strong, even detail and attractive brown toning, can fetch $8,000 to $9,000 AUD or more. Exceptionally well-preserved pieces with high third-party grades can exceed $2,500 AUD, especially when they exhibit full original luster. Number 20, 1957 penny. The 1957 penny, issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, stands as a significant piece in the post-war era of Australian coinage. With a strong mintage and a continued tradition of kangaroo design, it represents both stability and continuity in the evolution of Australia's currency. Struck at the Perth Mint, the coin features a portrait of the young Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Mary Gillick. The reverse shows the leaping kangaroo, a design that had become synonymous with Australian identity by the 1930s. With a mintage of 39.7 million, the 1957 penny is relatively common in lower grades, but continues to be valued by collectors for its clean, simple design and its role in Australia's post-colonial era. While circulated examples are abundant, high-quality examples, particularly those with full mint luster, are more difficult to find. The coin's value is primarily influenced by its condition, and the demand for coins from the Elizabethan series. Circulated examples can typically be found for $2 to $8 AUD, while coins in very fine or extremely fine condition range from $59 to $50 AUD. Coins in uncirculated condition with rich mint red toning or glossy brown surfaces, are valued between $80 and $150 AUD, with particularly well-preserved. Examples pushing $2,000 AUD. Premium, third-party graded coins in MS65 or higher can exceed $3,000 AUD, especially when they display exceptional visual appeal and originality. Number 19, 1956 penny. The 1956 penny is another crucial coin in the series of early Elizabethan pennies. Released just a year before the minting of the 1957 penny, the 1956 issue continues the tradition of kangaroo, reverse design with a slight variation in detail compared to earlier years. Struck at the Perth Mint, the coin features the young, uncrowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. The reverse shows the familiar kangaroo, a symbol of Australia's wildlife and national spirit. The 1956 penny was struck in considerable numbers, with a mintage of 28.7 million. This makes it an accessible coin for collectors, particularly for those focused on assembling a complete set of mid-20th century pennies. However, as with other coins of this era, high-grade specimens are harder to come by due to natural wear and tarnishing over decades of circulation. In circulated condition, the 1956 penny is typically valued around $1 to $5 AUD, making it a relatively inexpensive entry for beginner collectors. In very fine to extremely fine condition, it can be valued between $20 to $50 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those with a full red or glossy brown finish, generally sell for $800 to $2,500 AUD. Graded coins in MS64 or MS65 can exceed $3,500 AUD, particularly if they display remarkable luster and minimal surface distractions. Number 18, 1938 penny. The 1938 penny is one of the most celebrated and sought-after coins in the Australian per decimal series due to its design, historical significance, and overall scarcity in higher grades. Struck during the reign of King George VI. This coin was the first Australian penny to feature the leaping kangaroo reverse, a design that would continue in the penny series until the coin's eventual withdrawal in the early 1960s. The obverse shows the traditional crowned bust of George V, while the reverse, featuring the kangaroo in full motion, brought a fresh and bold aesthetic to Australian currency. This kangaroo design, by artist William MacArthur, was chosen to represent Australia's national spirit and independence, and it immediately became iconic. Despite a relatively high mintage of 12.6 million coins, the 1938 penny is regarded as a semi-key date, due to its rarity and higher grades. The coin is more frequently found in circulated condition, as it was used extensively in commerce for decades. As a result, higher quality examples, especially those exhibiting full detail, original mint luster and minimal wear, are in high demand among serious collectors. In circulated condition, the 1938 penny is valued at approximately $5 to $20 AUD. Coins vary, fine or extremely fine. Condition can range from $50 to $150 AUD. Uncirculated examples, especially those in red brown or chocolate brown with full detail, can command anywhere between $300 and $600 AUD. Coins graded by services like PCGS or NGC and MS65 or higher can fetch $54,000 to $65,000 AUD or more, depending on their visual quality. Number 17, 1960 penny. The 1960 penny is one of the final issues of the Australian pre-decimal penny series, representing the transition from King George VI's reign to the era of Queen Elizabeth II. Despite being produced during the relatively modern period of the 1950s, this coin retains the traditional design elements used throughout the previous decades, including the kangaroo reverse, which continued to symbolize Australian nationalism. The obverse features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Mary Gillick, while the reverse shows the now iconic kangaroo, which had been in use since 1938. The 1960 penny was minted in over 36 million pieces, making it one of the more common coins in the Australian penny series. However, as with most coins of this age, its value is greatly influenced by its condition, with high-grade examples being increasingly rare to find. In circulated condition, the 1960 penny is widely available, and its value generally ranges from $1 to $3 AUD. For coins in very fine to extremely fine condition, the value rises to $10 to $30 AUD. Uncirculated examples, particularly those with rich, full mint luster and attractive toning, can be worth $400 to $800 AUD. Exceptional, Third-party graded specimens with minimal wear and pristine details. Can command $7,000 to $8,200 AUD. Number 16, 1962 penny. The 1962 penny represents one of the last issues of the Australian pre-decimal penny series and holds a special place for collectors as a key date in the transition towards decimal currency. Struck in large numbers, this coin was minted under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and features the uncrowned portrait of the Queen on the obverse, designed by Mary Gillick. The reverse continues to feature the kangaroo design, symbolizing Australia's connection to its unique wildlife. The mintage of the 1962 penny was substantial at 56.3 million, making it one of the most commonly circulated pennies of the era. As a result, the 1962 penny is easily found in lower grades, but its value begins to rise significantly for well-preserved examples that show minimal signs of circulation. In circulated condition, the 1962 penny is worth $1 to 5 AUD. For coins in very fine or extremely fine condition, values rise to $10 to $30 AUD. Uncirculated specimens, particularly those with full detail and original mint luster, are valued at $500 to $1,000 AUD. Coins that achieve MS64 or MS65 grades from reputable third-party services can command $7,500 to $8,500 AUD, depending on visual appeal and market conditions. Number 15, 59 penny. The 1959 penny is one of the most recognizable coins from the late pre-decimal period in Australia, issued under Queen Elizabeth II. This coin was part of the tail end of the long-running penny series before the nation transitioned to decimal currency in 1966. While millions were struck, it holds significance for its elegant design, broad use in commerce, and as one of the final years of an era that would soon close permanently. The obverse features the familiar youthful, uncrowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Mary Gillick, while the reverse presents the iconic leaping kangaroo with the denomination 1 penny and the date beneath. A small dot under the scroll indicates the Perth Mint, which produced all pennies in this year. The 1959 penny was produced in large numbers. Over 25 million were minted. As a result, circulated examples are common. However, the appeal of this coin lies in the quality of surviving mint state specimens. High-grade examples with full mint red luster, no spotting, and clean surfaces are highly collectible. Many 1959 pennies were poorly stored, resulting in toning, corrosion, or wear even when uncirculated. In circulated grades, the 1959 penny is typically worth $10 to $50 AUD. In extremely fine condition, prices can rise to $100 to $250 AUD. Uncirculated coins, particularly those that retain mint red coloration, are valued between $400 and $1,000 AUD. Coins graded MS64 or higher can command $5,500 to $6,200 AUD, especially if they display pristine surfaces and minimal handling marks. Number 14, 1942 penny. The 1942 penny is a fascinating wartime issue, struck during the height of World War II. Due to the war's impact on Australia's economy and infrastructure, the government relied heavily on international assistance to produce its coinage. As a result, 1942 pennies were minted at multiple facilities: Melbourne, Perth, and notably in India, the latter indicated by an I mint mark under the scroll. The obverse features King George VI wearing the imperial state crown, while the reverse carries the now standard kangaroo design introduced in 1938. The 1942 issue is significant for collectors because it was produced in 3 different varieties. No mint mark, Melbourne. Dot after Y and penny, Perth. I mint mark, Calcutta, India. Each variety has different scarcity levels. The Melbourne and Perth strikes are fairly common, while the 1942 I penny from India is less common, particularly in high grades, and of greater interest to collectors. Circulated examples from any of the 3 varieties generally range from $30 to $150 AUD, depending on grade. Coins in extremely fine condition typically bring $200 to $400 AUD, while uncirculated coins, especially those from the Indian Mint, or in red-brown toning, are valued between $600 and $1,500 AUD. Coins graded MS65 or better may exceed $8,500 AUD, particularly if certified and well struck. Number 13, 1918 I mint mark Sixpence. The 1918 I mint mark Sixpence is a cherished silver coin from World War I, struck not in Australia but in India, at the Calcutta Mint. The I mint mark beneath the date on the reverse distinguishes it from Australian minted issues and reflects the global cooperation that helped Australia maintain its coinage supply during the war. The obverse bears the portrait of King George V, designed by Bertram McKennell, while the reverse shows the traditional Australian coat of arms, featuring the kangaroo and emu flanking a shield. Made of 92.5% sterling silver, this coin not only carries historic weight, but also intrinsic bullion value. With a mintage of just 1.2 million, the 1918 sixpence is a low mintage issue, and even circulated examples are sought after. High-grade pieces are scarce due to extensive wartime usage and the rough conditions of transportation between mints and colonies. The I mint mark adds rarity and international intrigue, making it one of the standout coins in the Sixpence series. Circulated coins are typically worth $40 to $100 AUD, while very fine to extremely fine. Examples range between $150 to $300 AUD. Uncirculated specimens, especially those with radiant silver luster and sharp strikes, can command $600 to $1,200 AUD. Coins in top certified grades can exceed $9,500 AUD, especially those with deep original toning or from pedigreed collections. Number 12, 1922-21 3-pence overdate. The 1922-21 overdate. 3-pence is one of Australia's most captivating coin anomalies. This rare variety occurred when a die originally dated 1921 was re-engraved with 1922, leaving traces of the original, one visible under the final. 2. These types of overdates are particularly exciting for numismatists because they reflect human craftsmanship and practical necessity. In mint operations of the early 20th century, the coin features King George V on the obverse and the Commonwealth coat of arms on the reverse. Minted at a time when equipment and materials were in limited supply, especially in the post-WWI economic climate, reusing old dies was a practical, if imperfect, solution. This coin's rarity lies in the distinctive overdate, which is visible under magnification. Not all 1922 3-pence coins have the overdate feature, which makes spotting one an exhilarating moment for a collector. It's estimated that only a small portion of the total 1922 mintage includes this variety, and few survive in collectible condition today. A verified 1922-21 overdate 3-pence in fine to vary. Fine condition typically sells for $1,000 to $2,000 AUD. Higher grade coins in extremely fine or better may command $3,000 to $6,000 AUD. Truly uncirculated examples are exceedingly rare and can achieve $1,000 to $15,000 AUD or more, depending on the sharpness of the overdate and certification status. Number 11, 1915 H halfpenny. The 1915 H halfpenny is an important and highly collectible Australian coin from the World War I era. The H mint mark denotes that it was minted at the Heaton Mint in Birmingham, England, as Australia's minting facilities couldn't keep up with wartime demands. The coin's scarcity, historical backdrop, and foreign mint origin make it one of the key dates in the Australian halfpenny series. The obverse features King George V, while the reverse follows the early pre-decimal tradition with the denomination 1 halfpenny in the center, surrounded by Commonwealth of Australia, and the date 1915. The tiny H under the scroll distinguishes it from its rarer cousin, the 1915 no H halfpenny, which is much harder to find. Despite its status as a key date, the 1915 H has a respectable mintage of around 2.5 million, but few coins were preserved in high-grade condition. Most were circulated heavily, and due to the soft bronze alloy, they wore down quickly or became corroded. In circulated grades, the 1915 H halfpenny is typically valued at $40 to $100 AUD, very fine to extremely fine. Examples fetch between $150 and $1 AUD. In uncirculated condition, especially those with glossy brown or red toning and minimal handling, the value climbs to $600 to $1,200 AUD. Certified coins in MS64 or higher may surpass $8,500 AUD, making it a coveted prize for serious halfpenny collectors. Number 10. 1934-35 Melbourne Centenary Florin. The 1934-35 Melbourne Centenary florin is one of Australia's most prestigious and coveted commemorative coins, a true numismatic masterpiece. that transcends its face value by representing a major cultural milestone, issued to celebrate the centenary of the founding of Melbourne, 1834-1934. This florin was not only a limited release, but also a completely unique design, never repeated or reused on any other Australian coin. The obverse features the crowned bust of King George V, designed by Bertram McKennell, while the reverse showcases a striking depiction of a youth on horseback holding a laurel wreath, symbolizing progress and civic achievement. Surrounding this image are the words, Centenary Victoria Melbourne, 1934-1935. The design by artist George Kruger Gray is considered one of the most beautiful ever to appear on an Australian coin. With a mintage of just 75,000, the 1934-35 florin is exceptionally rare, especially in high grades. Many were mishandled or circulated despite being released as a commemorative. Finding one in pristine condition today is a major feat. Interestingly, the coin's original release price was 3 shillings, a premium over its 2 shilling face value, a bold marketing move that initially slowed sales. However, its rarity and stunning design soon made it a hot collector's item. In worn or lower circulated grades, this coin still commands impressive values, generally $800 to $2,500 AUD. Coins in extremely fine condition range between $2,500 and $4,000 AUD. Uncirculated examples are exceedingly rare and often trade for $7,000 to $12,000 AUD. Coins graded MS65 or higher, particularly those with superb toning and minimal handling marks, can exceed $15,000 to $2,000 AUD, especially if they retain original surfaces and come from a pedigreed collection. Number 9. The 1921 florin may look like an ordinary silver coin at first glance, but among collectors, it's one of the key dates in the florin series, notorious for being elusive in high grades and difficult to find with full details. This coin was minted during a transitional period between World War I and the Roaring 1920s, a time of economic recovery and increasing national pride. The obverse features the portrait of King George V, while the reverse displays the 1920s version of the Australian coat of arms, with the emu and kangaroo supporting the shield under the crown. Struck in 92.5% sterling silver, the 1921 florin has both historical and intrinsic value. Although its official mintage was a relatively healthy 1.4 million, many coins were heavily circulated. The dies used at the time were often worn or poorly maintained, resulting in weak strikes, especially in the shield and crown areas on the reverse. This makes high-quality, well-struck examples extremely desirable. In circulated grades, the 1921 florin usually sells for $80 to $250 AUD, depending on the level of wear. Extremely fine examples can range from $500 to $800 AUD. However, uncirculated coins, especially those that are sharply struck with full details and original luster, are rare and typically valued between $2,000 and $5. Shorn AUD, premium examples in MS64 or higher can fetch $7,000 to $10,000 AUD at major auctions. Number 8. 1856 Sydney Mint Sovereign. The 1856 Sydney Mint Sovereign is a truly historical piece, a gold coin from Colonial Australia, struck at the first overseas branch of the Royal Mint, established in Sydney in 1855. This coin was part of the very first effort to create an official gold currency for the colony using the massive gold reserves discovered during Australia's gold rush era. The obverse features a portrait of Queen Victoria, with the distinctive Sydney Mint inscription on the reverse, unlike later sovereigns that bear Dei Gratia and Britanniarum Regina Fid Def. The 1856 issue, being only the second year of production, is among the most highly prized sovereigns for collectors and historians alike. It represents the assertion of economic independence and the earliest formation of what would become Australian national coinage. Struck in 22-karat gold, 91.67% purity, the Sydney Mint sovereigns were not only used as currency, but also melted down for their gold content, which makes surviving examples increasingly rare, especially in collectible condition. Circulated examples of the 1856 sovereign are typically valued at $3,000 to $6,000 AUD, depending on detail and wear. Extremely fine coins range from $8,000 to $12,000 AUD, while uncirculated specimens, particularly those with minimal marks and strong luster, can command $15,000 to $3,000 AUD. Certified examples graded MS62 or higher may exceed $35,000 AUD, particularly those from famous collections or with strong provenance. Number 7. 1813 dump, 15 pence. The 1813 dump is one of the most fascinating and symbolically powerful coins ever issued in Australia. It was created as part of the Holy Dollar and Dump Project, an ingenious solution to a massive currency shortage in early New South Wales. Under the directive of Governor Lachlan Macquarie, Spanish silver dollars were imported, cut in the center, and stamped with a new denomination. The outer ring became the Holy Dollar, and the center plug became the dump, valued at 15 pence. The dump features a simple design. The words, New South Wales 1813, encircle a crown on the obverse, while the reverse displays the denomination 15 pence. Each piece was individually cut and counter-stamped by hand, making every dump unique, with minor variations in size, alignment, and thickness, only about 3,000 to 5,000. Dumps are believed to have been made, and far fewer survive today, especially in higher grades. As one of Australia's first official coins, the dump carries tremendous historical weight. It's not only a collector's item, but a national treasure, featured in museums and historical exhibits across the country. In lower grades, a genuine dump can sell for $15,000 to $3,000 AUD. Very fine specimens may fetch $4,000 to $8,000 AUD, and coins in extremely fine or better condition are valued at $100,000 to $15,000 AUD or more. Exceptional examples with strong provenance and certification have broken 2,000 AUD at major auctions. Number 6. 1813 Holy Dollar. The 1813 Holy Dollar is unquestionably Australia's most iconic and valuable historic coin, created alongside the dump as part of Governor Macquarie's plan to retain currency within the colony. Each Holy Dollar was made by taking a Spanish 8 reales coin, punching out the center, and stamping it with the denomination 5 shillings along with New South Wales 1813 and a crown. Each Holy Dollar is a work of colonial ingenuity. It was the first coin specifically created for use in Australia and remains a profound symbol of the country's early struggle for economic independence. Because the host coins, Spanish dollars, varied by year and mint, no two Holy Dollars are alike, making them endlessly fascinating to numismatists and historians. Approximately 40,000 Holy Dollars were originally minted, but fewer than 350 are known to survive today. Some are in museum collections or held by institutions, meaning the number available to private collectors is vanishingly small. The condition and the origin of the host coin, e.g., 1780 Mexico mint, greatly influence value. In heavily worn or hold condition, a Holy Dollar still commands $7,000 to $12,000 AUD. More complete examples with strong overstrikes and minimal host coinware can sell for $2,000 to $4,000 AUD. High-grade Holy Dollars, particularly those with full details and certified provenance, have sold for $500,000 to over $8,000 AUD. The finest known examples may break $1 million AUD, placing them among the most valuable coins in Australian and even global numismatics. Number 5. 1852 Adelaide Pound Type 2. The 1852 Adelaide Pound Type 2 is one of the most historically significant and desirable Australian gold coins ever struck. It was the first gold coin officially minted in Australia, produced at the Adelaide Assay office during the early days of the South Australian gold rush. The coin was an emergency issue designed to address the shortage of circulating currency and to give miners a way to convert their gold dust into standardized, usable coinage. There are two primary varieties of the 1852 Adelaide Pound Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 2, with a modified, more structurally sound reverse design, was produced after problems were discovered with the Type 1 die, which frequently cracked during striking. The Type 2 design features a more robust border of beading and stronger engraving to avoid the die break, issues that plagued the earlier version. The obverse reads, Government Assay Office Adelaide, around a beaded inner circle containing the word 1 pound. The reverse features a crown design and the date 1852 with an elegant surrounding inscription. This coin is struck in 22-karat gold, and although the issue was officially sanctioned, it was not produced at a royal mint, but rather under local government authority, making it both an official and pioneering colonial issue. With a surviving population estimated at around 200-300 specimens, The 1852 Type II Adelaide pound is extremely rare, especially in high grade. Many examples were heavily circulated or melted down, and very few survive in pristine condition today. In average circulated condition, the Adelaide pound Type II commands $18,000 to $3,000 AUD coins in extremely fine condition sell for $4,000 to $7,000 AUD, and uncirculated specimens can bring $20,000 to $15,000 AUD or more. Well struck. Certified examples in choice, mint state, MS62 or higher, have reached $2,000 AUD, particularly when backed by provenance or pedigree from renowned collections. Number 4, 1920 Sydney Sovereign. The 1920 Sydney Sovereign is one of the rarest and most legendary Australian gold sovereigns ever struck, so rare, in fact, that for decades it was considered a myth or rumored fantasy piece. Today, only a handful of examples are known to exist, and their value is virtually unmatched in Australian. Numismatics outside the iconic Holy Dollar and 1930 penny struck at the Sydney Mint. The 1920 Sovereign marked the end of sovereign production in Australia, with Sydney's operations shutting down the same year. The rarity of this coin is owed to the extremely small mintage. Possibly fewer than 10 pieces survive. The coin features the familiar St. George slaying the dragon reverse, designed by Benedetto Pistrucci, with the small S mint mark above the date denoting Sydney Mint origin. What makes the 1920 Sydney Sovereign so exceptional is the complete mystery surrounding its issue. No official mintage records exist for a business strike version, and the coins that survive are thought to be test strikes, extremely limited issues, or possibly even off-the-books production. Their provenance often includes decades of private ownership, making them a prize for elite collectors. The last known sale of a 1920 Sydney Sovereign occurred at auction, where it fetched $1 million AUD, making it one of Australia's most expensive gold coins ever sold. Current estimates for a certified, well-preserved example range between $8,000 and $1.5 million AUD, depending on provenance, condition, and market demand. For collectors of Australian sovereigns, the 1920 Sydney issue is the holy grail, exceptionally scarce, historically rich, and essentially unobtainable without deep pockets and elite connections. Number 3, 1939 Roux Reverse Sixpence. The 1939 Roux Reverse Sixpence is a remarkable rarity and a curious design transition piece in Australian coinage. Most 1939 Sixpence coins featured the Australian coat of arms reverse, consistent with tradition, but a small number were struck with a kangaroo reverse, a design that had been prepared but was ultimately rejected for mass production. These coins were likely struck as patterns or test strikes, but some entered circulation, making them one of the rarest circulating design. Errors in Australian history. The kangaroo reverse design is instantly recognizable to those familiar with Australian coins, but in this case it's startling on a sixpence. The kangaroo stands within a circle and the word Australia appears above. These features sharply contrast with the traditional reverse, which featured heraldic imagery. Only an estimated 10 to 20 pieces of the 1939 Roux Reverse Sixpence are believed to exist. Several are in museums or government archives, leaving very few available to private collectors. Their mystery and design deviation make them a centerpiece for any advanced numismatic collection. Values for these coins are astronomical. Even in fine or very fine condition, a Roux Reverse Sixpence can fetch $3,000 to $6,000 AUD. In extremely fine to about uncirculated condition, prices rise to $1,000 to $15,000 AUD. A well-preserved, uncirculated example, particularly one certified and pedigreed, can command $2,000 AUD or more, assuming it ever hits the open market. Number 2, 1916 Mule Halfpenny Indian Obverse. The 1916 Mule Halfpenny, also known as the Indian Obverse Halfpenny, is one of the most bizarre, dramatic, and rare minting errors in Australian numismatic history. In 1916, the Calcutta Mint in India was producing coins on behalf of Australia due to World War I, which placed stress on Australia's own production capabilities. Somehow, during this process, an Indian obverse die, intended for coins of the Indian Empire, was mistakenly paired with a reverse die of an Australian halfpenny. The result was a true mule, a coin bearing mismatched designs from two different countries. The obverse depicts King George V in regal robes, with an inscription distinct to Indian coinage. George V, King Emperor, instead of the usual George VDG Brit, Omn, Rex FD Ind IMP. The reverse features the traditional Australian halfpenny layout with the Commonwealth of Australia inscription and the date. Only a few known examples of this mule are confirmed to exist, and they are all extremely rare. Their discovery stunned collectors and historians alike, as the error was not identified until decades after the coins had entered circulation. Because it is a true die mismatch, and not just a minor variety, this mule is considered one of Australia's top minting blunders, and arguably its most significant. Prices for this rarity are understandably high. Even heavily circulated examples can command $7,000 to $12,000. AUD coins in extremely fine condition are valued at $15,000 to $25,000 OD, and any known uncirculated or lightly worn examples, particularly those authenticated and graded, can exceed $3,000 to $400,000 AUD. The mule status, historical rarity, and mystique make it a showpiece for any world-class collection. Number 1. The 30 penny. The 1930 penny is the crown jewel of Australian per-decimal coinage, the most famous, desired and mythologized coin in the nation's history. It is the coin that every Australian collector dreams of owning, and even non-collectors recognize it by name. Often called the coin that wasn't meant to exist, the 1930 penny was not officially released for circulation, yet a small number slipped through, most likely produced in unrecorded test batches or quietly circulated due to economic hardship during the Great Depression. The coin features King George V on the obverse and the classic 1 penny, reverse framed within a beaded circle. It looks similar to other pennies of the era, but its legendary scarcity makes all the difference. It is believed that only 1/200 to 1/500 pieces were struck, many of which were mishandled, spent, or damaged in circulation before their rarity was widely recognized in the 1940s. Today, fewer than 500 known examples exist in all grades. Most are in heavily circulated condition, with nicks, corrosion, or wear. A pristine example is a once-in-a-lifetime acquisition and usually comes with decades of proven provenance, institutional collection history, or high-end certification. In good to fine condition, a genuine 1930 penny can still command $25,000 to $5,000 AUD. Very fine examples rise to $6,000 to $9,000 AUD, while coins in extremely fine or better can fetch $100,000 to $2,000 AUD. A small number of uncirculated or near-mint examples have sold for $25,000 to over $500,000 AUD1. Such coins sold at auction in 2019 for $115 million AUD, setting a record at the time for an Australian copper coin. The 1930 penny is more than a coin. It is a symbol of economic resilience, national identity, and the extraordinary charm of numismatics. It remains Australia's most iconic and valuable copper coin and will forever occupy the top spot in any list of rare Australian currency. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the top 50 most valuable Australian coins. From historic gold sovereigns to iconic copper pennies, each coin tells a unique story of Australia's heritage, economy, and craftsmanship. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth numismatic content. Hit the bell icon so you never miss out on rare coin updates and collecting tips. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!